constantly walking on eggshells in your relationship, that's a sign that the relationship is broken, because the right relationship for you is the relationship where you're going to feel safe and empowered to share how you're feeling and to ask for what you need. And when you communicate how you're feeling, the relationship actually gets better. It gets stronger. So if you're always searching for the right words to say or the right time to say it, or you're scared to share how you really feel, that is the definition of walking on eggshells. And that relationship is broken. And it's time to look for a relationship that's going to make you stronger.
If you are pretending to be asleep when your partner comes to bed, that's not a healthy relationship. And what that actually is, that's your intuition screaming for you to pay attention to it. We have been conditioned to believe that marriage should last forever, no matter what. You made the vows, you made the promises, there's no breaking that. But the problem is that conditioning can sometimes keep us stuck in relationships or marriages that we don't want to be in anymore. In this week's episode of Becoming You Again, I am giving you some signs to look for that it might be time to reevaluate your marriage. Because it might be time for you to give yourself permission to truly ask what it is that you want. Because you deserve a life that feels like yours.
If you are unhappy in your marriage and you know it, and you're waking up every day knowing that you are living in this place, you may not like this, but it is going to catch up with you. It's going to impact your mental well-being and eventually your physical well-being, because the two are directly linked. I've coached so many women who have, out of the blue, suddenly become physically unwell. I mean, we're talking autoimmune, which is rampant among women. Chronic migraines or chronic something or other, because they are living an inauthentic life and you are basically in a fight or flight all the time. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to get cancer if you don't do something about the state of your marriage, but what I am saying is that living an inauthentic life, walking on eggshells, constantly knowing that things could be different, it takes a toll on even the strongest of us women. And sometimes the thing that you are most afraid to do, the thing that you think is going to take you down, take down your family, take down everyone, is the best thing that you can do to be at peace and to ultimately be in the best health that you can be. Even if you do all the right things, you journal, you meditate, you spend time in nature, you go for walks, they are not going to negate the state of unrest that your body is in. I'll sometimes refer to a book that is so poignant for this point that I'm making, and it's called The Body Keeps Score. And ultimately, your body will keep score on what your heart has been crying out for a long time. I'm Lisa Blaisdell. I'm a midlife women's change and empowerment coach. I hope you make the hardest, bravest decision you will ever make, so that you can be at peace, you can be at health, and you can live the best life that you so richly deserve.
Walking on eggshells is toxic behavior. And if you're walking on eggshells around somebody, that means you're worried about setting them off. You're going to upset them, you're going to set them off. And so you are working to avoid that. You're trying to avoid that. And the harder you try to avoid doing something like that, the more you're going to actually do the exact thing that you're trying to avoid doing. And so when you try not to upset them, you are going to do something to actually upset them, because that's what your intention is saying to your own subconscious. You don't even realize that you're doing it, but this is the result that you're getting. And the more you try to walk on eggshells around them, the more you upset them and set them off. It's that exact behavior that's doing it. It's like you're setting the attention. And so once you give that up, once you stop walking on eggshells, it's walking on eggshells is clearly a trauma response. And when you release that trauma, when you release those negative emotions, then your whole life is going to change. Follow me for more.
Here are 10 signs, 10, that you may be walking on eggshells around somebody. If you are new here, my name is Krista Kokot. I am a certified life coach and a recovering people pleaser, helping you become the same thing. You ready for these? You avoid certain topics around people because it might elicit a negative reaction. You modify your behavior to make it more acceptable to the person that you're around. You second guess yourself. You modify You might say, or you say something and it's not received the way you want it to, so you second guess what you've said. You may have a heightened sense of anxiety or fear around knowing that you're going to go see this person. You withhold your honest opinion, so there's lack of authentic communication. You frequently apologize for things that you've said. You're like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean it like that, or oh, sorry, I didn't mean it like that. Again, lack of authentic communication. You may feel like you're often misunderstood. You're constantly trying to explain the way you feel, and their reactions are never giving you that feeling of being understood, so you feel misunderstood. This was mine. Their mood dictates your behavior. You are feeling their mood out, and it dictates how you are going to be, which also leads into a little bit of codependency. But anyways, that's a big one. You tiptoe around issues because you know it's probably not going to be received well, or it's going to end up in a argument or something, so you just don't even go there. Lastly, you feel energetically drained when you leave from being with that person because you've done a lot of dancing and you've done a lot of tiptoeing around that person. So those are some things to really become aware of. And I'm not saying the one-off, I'm not saying every now and then, we all kind of get like that. I'm talking about a continual basis with being around someone that you feel like you're walking on eggshells because you can't ever seem to say the right thing at the appropriate time, or you say too much, or whatever it may be. It's keeping you from living your authentic truth and being who you are.
If you're constantly walking around on eggshells because you're so worried about, are they going to be upset with me? Are they going to be disappointed with me? Are they going to see my worth? Then you're going to be doing that for the rest of your life. Be willing to just you just got to be willing to do this. That's what you got to be willing to do. You know what? Let them clean up that mess. Because the reality is, the more you avoid stepping on eggshells, right? The more that you avoid doing that, the more that you are saying, my worth is tied to your joy. My worth is tied to how you tell me I'm worthy. I have to do blank in order to show you my worth. And if you want to keep tippy-toeing so you don't squish somebody's eggshells, you're going to do it forever and ever. And they cannot give you value. All right? And if you have to do that, then maybe they are not your people. I don't care if it's a spouse. I don't care if it's a family member. I don't care if it's an adult child. Stop avoiding it. Squish those things.
So what are some signs of walking on eggshells? One is living under a layer of constant worry around this person. Worry that you might do or say something that would ruin their mood. Let's say one evening they're actually in a good mood, and it does happen, and you actually find yourself anxious while they're in a good mood. Why? Because you know you are only one word away from an eruption. So you're guarding that good mood for them. You're in that protective mode, cautious mode, and not free to just be you. Another layer of that worry is you're worried that you might prick their hypersensitivity. You might set off their defensiveness. You never know what will set them off. It could be anything from hanging a picture on a wall to putting a dish in the wrong place to asking what's on their schedule. And while these may be fine 9 times out of 10, that one time that it isn't is so bad that it sticks with you for years. It leaves you a total mess inside, scarred forever, because the reaction you get does not match what is happening, such as asking what's on their schedule. So you live fearful of making the tiniest mistake, because you know that even the smallest mistake has the potential for a massive outburst.
So why is it whenever you take some of these problems to these guys, they basically adopt your feelings and emotions, they make it their own, and then they use it against you, right? They weaponize your feelings against you to where everything is your fault. A lot of people call this blame shifting. I don't really know if that's what you want to call it or not, but whenever you distract a man or you annoy a man and you cause some negative impact to what he's doing, he's going to make you the problem, okay? And a lot of people don't even realize when this is going on. Maybe you're walking around your man, you feel like you're walking on eggshells. That's a really good indicator that your man is probably trying to blame shift you and make things your fault. You know, it could be as simple as walking out the door and he forgot his wallet. Well, if you said anything to him in the process of leaving, he is going to blame you for him forgetting his wallet. Never mind the fact that he was forgetful, right? It's because you talked to him and you distracted him and you interrupted his train of thought. Now that makes it your fault. And I'm going to be honest with you, healthy, mature relationships, whenever a person has a problem, and you'll know this when you meet the right man, you will know. Whenever you have a problem, if he is emotionally mature, anytime you have an issue, he will tackle it from the love standpoint, not from the blame standpoint. If a man loves you, he is going to help you through the issue. If a man does not love you, and let me tell you something, these guys, they say they love you. Here's the problem. When a man gets to the bare minimum state, I question whether or not he still has love for someone, because love should not be adopting someone's feelings and blaming them for it. Love should not be anything other than investment and growth, and love should not be anything other than to maintain dignity and help your partner, your spouse, your girlfriend through whatever issue that she's having. Any man that does not do that lacks emotional maturity, he lacks relationship maturity, and to be quite honest with you, he probably lacks in every aspect known to the relationship. I mean, including but not limited to bare minimum effort, probably talking to people behind your back, no investment into the future, only agreeing in the moment and not ever following through, saying whatever he has to get rid of the conversation, to get you to chase bait on a different issue that you didn't even bring up. The list goes on and on. You wonder why so many women are struggling with all these guys. It's because it's a moving target. You can never pinpoint one issue with your man and try to get him through it because he has multiple issues going on.
Have you ever felt afraid to share something with your partner because you're afraid that they're gonna like blow up or get super triggered? This is like what people call like the eggshell dynamic in the relationship. You always feel like your thoughts and opinions, you're always walking on eggshells with your partner, and they're like a landmine of emotions. And that any time that you say something that wasn't quite thoughtful and it sets off this trigger, they're blowing up and blaming it all on you, and it's now like somehow your fault. You're probably treating your partner's emotions like something that's fragile, can easily break, which is making you super hyper vigilant and feeling like you can't fully share your honesty because they're not going to take it the right way, or they'll get defensive or they'll get triggered. It is not your job to prevent your partner from being triggered. You can be thoughtful and caring, mindful and honest with how you share things with them. That's not like pointing blame at them and something like that, but it's not your responsibility. Your job in a relationship is to show up and to share and to be bold and secure with what you're sharing. It's okay if your partner gets closed off or like blows up and has a moment. That's not something for you to personalize. It's not about you. It has everything to do with what's coming up in them, and that's their responsibility. And your only role in the process of your partner having an emotional reaction to what you're saying is just to support them. Insecure version of you, eggshell version of you is going to be like, please don't get mad at this. Or I feel like I can't say what I want to, but I need to say this. You give this huge disclaimer every time. Secure version of you is like this. Hey hun, I did some journaling on this, and this is something that's resting on my heart that I need to share with you. Can you hold some space? I'm totally fine with however you react to this, but I need to share this with you. When you focus on trying not to trigger your partner and trying to walk on the eggshells, you are not advocating for yourself. And it's not your partner's responsibility to advocate for you or to be a safe space. It is your job first to be an advocate for yourself, and then you get to see, do you appreciate the ways that they hold your honest, authentic
If you're
experience?
with a narcissist, you will totally understand the term walking on eggshells. The minute they pull up to the house, your nervous system's ready to go and you're walking on eggshells because you're predicting the next explosion. You will start to scan everything, their facial expressions, the way they're breathing. You will take notice of how they put something down, because you will be able to determine their mood to be able to predict the next fight. Your nervous system is in such fight or flight that you start rewording sentences midway. You start to avoid and beat around certain topics. You start to adjust your tone as you're speaking so you don't set them off. And it's not about being afraid of conflict. It's about knowing that any misstep could lead to hours of conflict. or days of punishment, whether they display it with rage, silent treatment, or major guilt. Over time, you're not just tiptoeing around them, you're tiptoeing around yourself. You literally stop trusting your gut, yourself, your reactions, your emotions, and your thought process. That constant tension you feel, it's your body trying to keep you safe. It's exhausting, but it's also proof that you've adapted to the impossible. And once you escape that reality, you can use that same awareness for living and not just surviving.
The main reason why your marriage is falling apart right now is because y'all are walking on eggshells around each other, holding significant information about how you feel about one another. Let me explain. You see, right now you feel a certain way about your partner, and you haven't shared it. You haven't shared exactly how you feel about things, how you feel about them, and how you feel about this marriage. You're waiting for the right time, and you don't know how you can say what you want to say without really hurting their feelings, because the last time you said exactly what was on your mind, it was too brutal. And here's the thing. I'm not asking you to be brutally honest, because why would you want to be brutal with somebody that you said I do to and that you want to spend the rest of your life with, right? But what I am asking you to do is to be effectively honest with your partner, to sit down with them and have the honest conversation about where this marriage is going, how it's going, and how you actually feel about it. Because the more time that you allow to pass by about this, the more it festers. The more the resentment builds up, the more the ick about them grows, the more they pass by you and you don't even want them around you, the more they annoy you. You understand me? You might as well not even call this a relationship if you're not able to sit down with your partner and say exactly what's on your mind and get those hard things off your chest and realize that there will never be a perfect time to tell them the truth. You understand me?